Welcome back to S&S Grills, everyone. I'm Mike from the Everyday Barbecue YouTube channel, and today I'm going to show you how to make some delicious smoked jalapeno poppers out on the Slow and Sear travel kettle. And it's coming up right now. Once again, welcome back to the channel, everybody. We really appreciate all your support, and if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, you're going to want to do that. Click that button down there so you don't miss out on any of these great recipes. Now, today's recipe starts with the shopping for your jalapenos. You'll want these to be as straight as possible. The straighter the better for the cook and the prep. More importantly, you want these to be fresh. So when you're feeling these, make sure that they still feel firm and fresh. If they're too soft, take a hard pass, choose another pepper. Now, I've got all mine here rinsed off, so let's get started. Let me show you exactly how we're going to put this together. So I'm starting here with about 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. To that, we're going to be adding in a combination of our 2 rubs, the Rockies rub and the Not Just for Beef rub. And we can be very generous with this because there's no salt in either of these rubs. I'm going to add just a pinch of salt, and let's give this a quick mix before we add our next ingredient. All right, now for a little bit of ooziness, we're going to add some nice, fresh, shredded cheddar cheese. With our filling all set to go, let me show you how we're going to cut these peppers. One of the biggest challenges for this cook is keeping all the filling inside the pepper as everything cooks. So I've tried lots of different ways to cut these, and I'm going to share my favorite method with you today. Now, the biggest thing with this cut is for you to take your time and not rush it. We're going to start up here by the stem. Make sure you're holding the pepper back from the stem so that you're away from the knife. And you're just going to make a slight cut downward. And you're going to turn the knife as you get through the pepper. And just go all the way down to the end. There we go. The next step is to make room for our filling. So we want to scrape out the insides of these peppers. So have a bowl on hand. And guys, always use gloves when you're prepping these jalapenos. Trust me on that. So I'm just going to have a bowl on hand. And we are just going to gently scrape out the inside of this pepper. And don't get too tied up in this. Just get enough out so that you have room for your filling. If you'd like to leave some of these seeds in for extra heat, by all means, go for it. So there's our clean pepper. Now for the other side. Now what I like to do is just put these halves back together and just set this aside. We're going to go ahead and finish up the rest of these. Just a few minutes later, these peppers are ready to go. So it's now time to get these stuffed and wrapped with bacon. So we're going to take our pepper, fill it with our cream cheese filling. Once you have that full, just place the other half of your pepper on top of that. And we are then going to wrap this with a nice piece of bacon. And then to keep everything together, we're just going to pop a toothpick here in the end. So it's really just that simple. And what I have found about choosing bacon for this recipe is you want something sort of right in the middle in terms of thickness. If it's too thin, it's going to cook too quick. If it's too thick, it's going to take too long to cook. So choose something right in the middle. These are all filled. These are all wrapped with bacon. Now, last step before we get these on our cooker is just to get a nice light dusting of the same rub combination that we used inside the cream cheese on the outside of this. Now, again, there's no salt in that rub, so you can be nice and generous with this without worrying about oversalting. Just a light coating on all sides of these. So with our peppers all ready for the cooker, let's talk a little bit about this cook and cooker setup. Today's cook is going to be on the Slow and Sear travel kettle at 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Start with about 6 to 8 coals in one corner of the charcoal basket. Light those with a fire starter and let those begin to catch. Then go ahead, place the lid on the cooker, open that top vent all the way, and we're going to be using our smoke hole as our lower vent today. So we're going to start by opening that fully. I do have my drip pan in place. I'll be monitoring temperatures today with the S&S 500 remote thermometer, which I ran through the Pro Port. Now once you get to within 75 or 100 degrees of your target temperature, just begin choking your vents back until you get it dialed in perfectly. Now it is a very cold day here where I'm at, so keep in mind there are a lot of variables with this. But here's what my final vent settings look like. Once your temperatures are dialed in, go ahead and fill the rest of the charcoal basket with unlit coal. Now my temperatures are dialed in, so it is time for us to get these poppers out onto the smoker. Bundle up because it is incredibly cold outside. I'll meet you out there. we've been cooking about 30 minutes, and before we check in on these, I just want to let you know it is literally like 10 below out here with the wind chill. So this cooker's held up really, really well in this cold weather. But we've been going about 30 to 35 minutes. Let me show you what these jalapeno poppers look like. Now you can see we've taken on some beautiful color from that smoke. These have begun to soften up. So this cook is typically about an hour, but you can go a little bit more or a little bit less, just depending on lots of variables. What you're looking for here is for those peppers to soften up and for that bacon to begin to crisp on the outside. So we're gonna let these continue to cook till that bacon is perfect on the outside. As soon as we hit that point, we'll be pulling these from the cooker and resting them just long enough so that we can handle them and serve them. I'll fill you in on all the total cook time information and see you when it's time for the taste test. So we ended up going a total of about an hour and 15 minutes, and then I pulled these. So this bacon's right where I want it to be. I've let these rest for just a few minutes. It's time to cut one of these open. It's time for my favorite part of the video. And you can hear that there. The bacon's really perfect on the outside. Just take a look at how gorgeous that is inside. This is gonna be a big bite. Nah, I don't care. Cheers, everyone. You can see that pepperiness on the outside and on the inside from that rub combination. So you get a nice balance of sweet and savory, just enough saltiness, and of course that bacon just sends this over the top. Smoke flavor's absolutely perfect also. You saw how easy this was to do. Now it's your turn to try it at home. And I want to thank you very much for your time. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Remember, till next time, 2 zones are better than 1. And I'll see you on the next video.